Hey everyone, Nicole Russo coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky with colleague Joe Nevills for the Oaks Countdown. And with 2 months to go till the Oaks and Derby, starting to feel like spring is in the air here in horse country. Definitely felt that way around the country last Saturday with three noteworthy Oaks preps, each offering 50 qualifying points to the winners. Without further ado, here's the look at our latest top 5 list of contenders for the Philly Classic. Now, unbeaten Dream Tree scratched out of Saturday's Santa Isabel owing to the wet track, going to wait probably for the Santa Anita Oaks, but in her absence, Midnight Basoo, who's the only filly that's gotten close to her, successfully stretched out for an impressive win, did what she was supposed to do. And Joe, these two California fillies still really at the head of the class right now.
Yeah, Dream Tree, Midnight Basoo, they're two fillies that have butted heads a few times, come very close to each other. Both Dream Tree won both races by a nose during both of their meetings, scratched out of the Santa Isabel. Midnight Basoo, like you said, did what she had to do, popped a 94 by her speed figure here, which is the highest by a 3-year-old filly in 2018. As we discussed last week, I'm a big fan of this filly. I think she's got a big future ahead of her.
Yeah, and back to our top 5, you see divisional champion Caledonia Road hanging out down there. She's been back on the work tab recently after having a chip removed following the Breeders' Cup, getting back into a pattern. They've still got time to maybe get a prep in her. Can't afford to miss any more time or have any other hiccups, but she warrants a spot on this list on class. Fly So High certainly would have made our top 5, but as you've doubtlessly heard, the impressive Devona Dale winner pulled up past the line, emerged with a minor suspensory injury, nothing career threatening. And this is certainly a filly that we're going to put a big star next to later in the year, particularly with the way her family has historically developed. But with the timing of the issue, trainer Shug McGahee, who is a conservative trainer, telling our Mike Walsh this morning the plan is to have her on the farm and out of training for about 30 or 40 days, which obviously rules out the Oaks. Moving on to the rest of our top 10, and you will see some changes here. Midnight Disguise, who won the Busher on Saturday at Aqueduct, moves onto the list. We'll address her in a moment, as well as Take Charge Paula, graded winner who was second to Fly So High in the Devona Dale. Several others on this list we'll be hearing from in upcoming preps, but let's take a quick look back at that Devona Dale. And behind the impressive Fly So High, you're going to see the aforementioned Take Charge Paula in second. This is a well-seasoned filly who has won 5 of 8, a 4-time stakes winner at distances up to the 7 furlongs of the Grade 3 Forward Gale prior to this. She's from the first crop of the AP Indy Stallion Take Charge Indy. She's so consistent, and I can't ignore that. But, Joe, I do think distance is her big question as we dive into her pedigree here.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how far she's going to want to go as we go later into the season, because especially in her female family, there's not a whole lot of distance capability in there. She's out of the Song and a Prayer mare Perfect Paula, who raced in England herself, won at 5 furlongs on the synthetic, and was stakes placed at about 5 furlongs on the turf, but never really got the mile-plus routes juice in her there. She's the dam of 6 winners from 7 starters, including the Leighton Heat, Our American Girl, who won at 5.5 furlongs. Telvacati Foal Senna, who is stakes placed at up to a mile at Emerald, also won up to a mile and 16th at Golden Gate and Turf Paradise. Also had another foal, Lady Liddy, won at a mile on a turf at Gulfstream Park West. Perfect Paula is, though, a full sister to Jack Jr., who was a well-beaten second in the UAE Derby at a mile and a 16th, but did most of his damage on the turf and poly in Europe at around a mile. Going further back into the page, you can find Nightmare Affair, who was a Grade 2 winner at 6 furlongs, Off the Richter, who was Grade 3 placed at 7 furlongs, and Another Silver Oak, who was Grade 2 placed at 6 furlongs. On the plus side you have a few two-turners in her pedigree. Stolen Gold, who was a stakes winner at a mile and Grade 1 placed at a mile and a 16th. You go even further back, you find Terra Incognita, who was a Grade 2 winner at a mile and a 16th, and German 2000 Guineas winner Martillo, who was a mile winner on the turf.
And moving up to New York, Saturday's other prep winner, as we mentioned, was Midnight Disguise. We're going to watch her here winning the Busher. Can't compare to some of the others in her class on her buyers just yet, but she's another one who is so consistent and just keeps clearing the hurdles. New York bred filly from the family of millionaire naughty New Yorker has now won 4 of 5, has already won at a mile and an eighth. And Joe, we've talked a little bit about this big sweeping stride of hers, very reminiscent of her sire Midnight Loot, a sizable horse with that big long stride. And he's just having a terrific year. Midnight Bassu also one of his.
Yeah, Midnight Loot now has the top 2 fillies in the Kentucky Oaks point standings, Midnight Bassu and Midnight Disguise, each with 60 points. And it's going to be really exciting to see what Midnight Loot has going forward. He had Midnight Lucky a few years ago running the Oaks, was a very good Grade 1 winner for him as a 3-year-old. And he's got the world in front of him. This page in particular is pretty fun if you love New York breds. Midnight Disguise was bred in New York by William Wilmot and Joan Taylor, who also bred her dam Thin Disguise. All 4 of Thin Disguise's foals are winners, also including Holiday Disguise. That's a lot of disguises. Who's rolled off 2 stake-bred stakes wins in a row in New York at 7 furlongs and a mile. Thin Disguise herself is a half-sister to the popular Naughty New Yorker, who was a Grade 3 winner and won 11 stakes races during his on-track career, as well as Grade 2 place stakes winner Pupil and stakes place Deceived. All those horses were bred in New York by Wilmot and Taylor as well.
All right. Well, a major weekend of Oaks preps in the books and another big weekend coming up. Our lone points race this coming weekend is the Honeybee at Oaklawn. It's expected to include the top 3 from last month's Martha Washington at the track and Red Ruby, who is in our top 5, Sassy Sienna and Cosmic Burst. 2 others in our top 10 also expected for that in Amy's Challenge, that fast filly who's going to get a major class and distance test. We'll know a lot more about her after that. And Stronger Than Ever, winner of the Silver Bullet Day at Fairgrounds last out. It has the makings of a race that will really help sort out some of these fillies. And we'll be back same time next week to sort it all out for you on the Oaks Countdown.